Hi, everyone. Welcome to Freebird Spirit YouTube channel. Thank you for swinging by and hanging out with us today. Love is wisdom behind the awakenings. Discussion and channeling with Mata. Hi, Chrys.
21.
21.
Oh, is it 21? Is it
Yeah,
20?
it is
Yeah,
21.
it is.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And here we are. And we were just kind of reviewing some of the comments together, and just so deeply felt. We so deeply feel all the comments and the discussion, the part of the discussion you all bring in. And you can see we're on this ride together. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. We're not alone, are we? Yeah. So if you notice my sweatshirt.
What a nice sweatshirt.
What a nice sweatshirt, isn't it? Thank you, Chrys. Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And just so appropriate. Day to day. This could be a foundation of your day, right? Just stepping into the energy of releasing and moving forward, right? Anyway, love it.
Well, it's an ancient Hawaiian practice. And if you do it, even if you're not sorry for something in particular, even if you didn't do anything, you're releasing that energy and you're releasing that timeline. So it's got a lot of power to it.
Yeah, important to know that, because when I was first doing the Ho'oponopono, I'm just like, why am I saying sorry? They're the ones that should be sorry. Wrong attitude, guys. So what you're doing is just releasing that energy. Yeah.
Oh, what happened?
What happened?
Well, no, I had this on and now it's off. So, okay. Okay, we're good. I'm good.
Okay, we're all good. She's good, guys.
It's a phrase I don't use very often these days.
Take it when you can.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah. So we're going forward today in our discussion, really taking a look at some of the reflection. And I'm looking this way because the comments are here. And I had thought about sharing the screen, but I want anonymity, whatever that word is, even though it's on a public site, whatever, just felt a little more over the top. How do you combine when we are faced with these hard things, these hard obstacles in life? How do we so what does it mean to be awake? And reflecting over all the conversations that we've had, and the comments, reviewing the comments, going back over the conversation, because this is a shared experience, you guys. It really takes, what does it even mean to be awake? How do you know that you're awake? How do we know we're awake?
So when we say love is the wisdom behind awakening, so awakening is not an arrival, right?
Right.
It's not a goal. It's not an end. Awakening is a process, right? The way we've written it, that
it's a process.
It's not a, you never, well, I want to say you're awake on the other side, but I often feel corrected about that.
Right. We're already awake. We just
Well,
forgot.
you just keep coming back in for what I understood was we keep coming back in for lessons, for more lessons. So we're in the process of awakening on the other side too, right?
I think that's more the word expansion. We're always ever expanding. That's the law of the universe.
Well, isn't awakening expanding?
Awakening is remembering. It's coming awake to what is already there. So it's already there. We're just remembering. We've been slumbering. So we're awakening to what already is. The
Which you
other
already know. Which you already
Pardon?
know. What you already know.
But what we already know in our soul spirit self, and
Okay.
when we're just remembering. When we come here, we are giving opportunities to expand and experience, and in the process, we do learn a lot. However, I'm not sure the purpose we come here is to learn. I think it's more about experiencing. So we have the true knowing of things, the knowing of what it feels like to grieve yet still love at the same time, or to be angry yet act from a space of love within the anger. So we're offered these opportunities. So that's what that feels like when I want to experience, so it's more about experiencing something to expand. And in the process of that, while we're here on having this experience, that awakening and remembering as we're going through this process of expansion here and experiencing and creating, you're like,
Well, you said a lot. You said a lot.
Oh,
I'm also struck by the feeling that this shouldn't be full of words. It's the way in which this dimension makes sense of things through constructs, language, and it really shouldn't be that hard.
it's not that hard, guys. It's not.
You shouldn't have to have a mastery of the words in order to get it. So that
Then I'm the perfect channel.
Right.
Because I have no mastery of words. The whole family knows that.
I know, right? But you shouldn't. So you shouldn't be sitting there in the depths of despair saying, "Now, what was the word again?"
Right.
It's not that. It's I'm starting to, because I went through a bunch of feelings this weekend, and working with what we've been talking about, and it was listening to my heart, really listening to my heart, remembering what they're teaching us right now is that the heart is our other brain. The brain actually is limited. It's a receiver. It's not a creator. But the heart has that resonance, that significant value about teaching us. So when you spend your time listening to your heart will tell you. I think you said it the other day when we were doing that class, that listen to your body. Your body will tell you. And I first heard that through Eckhart Tolle. He was talking about, listen to your body, listen to the pain body, all of that early stuff he wrote about. And so it's that kind of radical thinking where it's like, oh, my stomach's upset, so what am I feeling? Right? Oh, my heart hurts, so what's bothering me? Oh, I feel really strained in my neck and in my shoulders. What am I tense about? That sort of stuff. But I don't want to lose track of what we started. We started because we're started about talking about what does it mean to awaken, and awaken implies that you were already asleep, right? You were out of touch, right?
Right. Well, we do kind of get a little out of touch when we come here.
Yeah, right. Right. Although you look in the faces of those newborn babies that we both have in
Oh,
our
well, the babies, they are
and
fully
they're
connected.
I mean, I looked at Rosalind, she had like a smirk on her face. I was
I'm
like,
telling you,
how can she smirk? She's 2 months old.
they know when those babies come in, they come in all full knowing. No wonder they don't give them a language yet, because we'd be hearing a earful, I'm sure.
Or that little boy that's 9 years old who just graduated from high school.
He
When
remembers.
they were interviewing him on CBS, and he was like, I don't know what the big deal is. I graduated from high school. A lot of people graduate from high school. What's the big deal? Oh, okay, it's because you're so young. Yeah, so I'm young. So what? And he's going off to college. It's like, so I like science. It's what's the big deal? And the parents are
Yeah.
sitting on both sides looking at him like, and they're laughing, and he's going, I don't know what the big deal is.
Yeah. Our little he's definitely a reincarnation of someone who's,
Yes.
I keep seeing the picture of Einstein. It's interesting.
Oh yeah.
Little
Well,
Einstein.
that would be the attitude too, right?
Right, the whole attitude, everything. Of course, I give more credit to Einstein's wife than I do Einstein. But that's a whole nother discussion, guys. Mm.
Yeah.
They were both brilliant, I should say, and she didn't get enough credit.
No women at
Um,
that were.
But yes, and I do want to kind of revisit just a little bit, and then we'll kind of jump for. And everybody's like, they're too hard to follow today. When it gets, yeah, so when it gets all noisy out here, and our other senses aren't able to connect into the frequencies because it's so noisy, so to speak, of life and things and all that. Then because our spirit team's going to try to get our attention one way or another constantly, whether you're, and so that then they'll hit your dreams, and then they'll hit all these different, trying to get your attention. When all that fails, they're going to start hitting your body.
Yeah.
Get your attention to listen to them. Okay, so what does this tell me? I'm feeling a little tight in my chest. Okay, I need to listen. What's going on? What am I not hearing? And that's when that's why they're like, meditation is so good. It's just a quieting of your mind. It's a quieting of the noise is all. We're not asking, a lot of people are like, meditation, I can't do it. I was just getting that too. I had to take a drink. That's weird.
It's just really dry.
Yeah. See, you are empathing me on this side today. It's
Well,
just really dry.
It just became a wordsmith. Yeah.
But
yes, but the connection with despair. I want to.
Yes, we're going back
That
to
that was in the comments from people.
It was, and I'm going to get to it right now. Her comment, and thank you. Thank you, Susan. Sunflower. Thank you, sunflowers. I'm very familiar with the feeling of despair and have trouble feeling love and connected to source when you're in that feeling of despair. 100%. Despair is very, very loud.
So awakening means something woke you up.
So awakening out of that despair, right? So within the despair, let me, I'm like trying to figure it out. I gotta look to Mata here. So within the the emotion, the despair, the heaviness of despair, where it's more of not noise. We are seeing that it's more of a muffle. So you have almost like you're putting a noise reduction, and everything becomes silent and cave-like in despair. So because the noise, everything becomes too much. You become so sensitive to everything on the outside when you are in despair, in the emotion of despair. So it's like testing the water, taking them off a little bit and testing the water. Oof. Yeah. So test the water. Put your toe in it, test it out. You can pull your toe back in, the despair, but putting your toe out a little bit. And when we say that, it's more about being open to the energies around you. Because what happens, you start to shut down from because everything is energy, right? And you close into your own ball of energy, and you're closed down to any of this out here. And so it's about testing that water, because in despair, it's natural, because you're trying to protect yourself from the pain and the depths of it. But in actuality, in trying to protect yourself, it pushes you more underwater, more silenced, more alone. And so we ask you in those moments to take off the muffling earphones, take your toe out, test it a little at a time. We're not asking you to go down to town to the busiest, loudest corner and stand there open. Just a little at a time, allowing your spirit team to come in and heal, come in and be a part of your energy a little at a time. What feels good, what's okay, what feels safe. But the more you close off, the more the deeper it will go. So being intentional about what you decide to open up to a little at a time. And you'll notice this awakening, as you call it, or awakening is comfortable and comforting to you. And then a little more at a time, and a little more at a time. And all of a sudden, despair is not despair. Despair is grief. Despair.
It seems that despair is sort of a moment where you're cutting yourself off from.
Yes, exactly.
From spirit, really.
Many of us will be saying, many of you would be saying, many of us will be saying, where is God in my moment of most need?
Right. Or why is God doing this to me?
Why is he abandoning me?
Yeah. Go through
Why is he doing this, and why am I being abandoned in this space?
why is this happening to me?
Yeah. Acknowledging that I have done this to myself. I have done this to protect myself.
Yeah. The moment, I'm just trying to think about how I was feeling a couple of days ago, that I was in the depths of despair, and I was paying attention to my heart, and it hurt. I was hurting a lot. And I thought, okay, acknowledge that your heart is hurting, and then let the feelings up. And so the feelings were to give voice to that, saying, I'm really hurting. I'm really sad. And then cry. And eventually that energy releases, because remembering that it's all energy, right? So you despair is when the energy is contained instead of, maybe contained isn't the right word, right? So despair is where the energy is closed down, right? So awakening then becomes that moment where you say, my energy is closed down. I'm going to release it now. That's awakening.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's awakening. And then it's becoming conscious. It's a consciousness. You're going into a consciousness that says, okay, I'm going to awaken to what's happening to me, to what I'm feeling, and awakening to letting it go, letting that energy go. Somehow let it go. It could be anger, right? Again, that's an anger about love. It could be yelling, carrying on, saying, why is this happening? Stop it, and then you get past that energy. It could become something else. But it could also be grief, right? So you could feel the sadness, you could let yourself cry, you can eventually. And I think a lot of people fear this, right? A lot of people fear like crying. It's like, I don't want to cry. It's like, well, why not?
Yeah.
Recognizing that this is all energy. So if you can move that energy, then you're going to go into that space of awakening. I don't know. You have to tell me what you think.
we become like a turtle, right? With our despair, with our big shell, right? Hiding. So for some of us, despair becomes so familiar, and we have a shell that we permanently have decided to keep with us because we never ever want to feel the initial thing that put us into that depth of pain. And then at that point, we walk around with this, whether it's a shell like a turtle, or armor like a knight. And why can't we feel when someone gives us a hug? Why can't we feel when someone sends love and light to us? Why can't we feel love going out? We have a shell, we have a armor that has become part of us. So the awakening for those of us who have that armor is breaking that armor off piece by piece, testing the water, testing, oh, this arm is free. Test that out. Test this out. I'm still safe. Awakening. Take off the armor that has been used to protect you. that is now keeping you from life, experiencing, creating.
I'm struck by the what you so often refer to as the narratives, as sort of social constructs, right?
Mm-hmm.
That part of despair and part of awakening is realizing that there's a script running in your head. It shouldn't be like this, right? It should be this way, but it's not this way, right? You know, relationships don't come to an end, they stay permanent. People stay in their relationships forever. Children shouldn't die, right? They shouldn't precede their parents. It's the script that says this is how it is supposed to be. And what you and I were talking about earlier about the way in which this one woman on TikTok was talking about patriarchy, so much of it's so full of scripts. Women shouldn't speak up to the men. Women should accept what's said about them. Laws that are being made about people it's just cloth, everybody. Drag stuff is just cloth. It doesn't have that kind of resonance. It's really flying in the face of the narrative, the script, the program. And so when you're awake, you suddenly realize these are programs. This is life. My mom used to say it all the time. It's just life. It's just life. People pass, people are born, things change, people wear different things, they look different ways. It's just life. But we're so busy trying to keep life contained,
in a box. Mm-hmm.
organized, and
To the box.
that when the box collapses, the despair is almost overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's so defining. It's like, oh my God, I must be a failure if I feel this. Somebody must have meant something horrible to happen to me for this to happen, right? So that's the collapsing of the boxes. I think part of the answer to awakening is about understanding that we're not accepting life on its own terms. Would you write down?
I was waiting for you to finish, and how I have to write things down just in case. What I'm hearing here with this as well is this, we spend so much time running around to the one wounded to the next wounded to the next wounded to the next wounded. We're distracted from getting in front of it instead of reacting to however it's playing out. Instead of reacting to this, it's like, how do we get in front of that? Instead of going from one wounded to the next wounded, and our focus is all on the wounded, how about on the aggression in the first place, or whatever it is out this? We need to be intentional, proactive. We're trying to fix it where it's not broken. The wounded are not broken. The wounded were a product of what is broken.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So we need to find what is broken, so the wounding stops. But the wounded aren't broken. We gotta, and of course we need to continue. I'm not saying not to help the wounded, but it's we're reacting.
But the wounding is not going to stop, is it?
Well, I don't have it written down here. Where did that go? I had the wounding. We can decrease the wounding. However, what we're being encouraged to do is refocus. Of course, we need to attend to the wounded, of course. But we need to refocus some energies to what is broken in the first place that causes the wounding. So we need to go to the source of what is causing this. So what is the source? I don't know what this piece has to do with awakening, but
I think it has a
I'm
lot
in
to do
response.
with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's in response to what you were saying there.
Yeah.
We
You
need to refocus.
You want to pause for a second? My computer's
Okay. So I want to take this to a personal level for all of us. When I'm talking about going to the wounded. So let's say we're talking about our own emotional body, our own mind, body, spirit. Whether it's in our emotional body, whether it's our physical body, or it's all of it together, wounded, right? So let's take a look at our own. So everybody, I just want you to pause and kind of go like this. We're going to take a look at our own woundedness here. And we focus so much of our energies on our own woundedness. We have therapies for woundedness. We have therapies for, we have all types of offerings for our wounded emotional mind, body, spirit, right? We have so much to offer there. But what if we spent some of that energy focused on what brought the wounding there in the first place? Right? What does that world look like? Where, there's billions and billions of dollars into our woundedness, right? What happens if we refocus to where it's broken in the first place? And guess where that takes us? To the misogynist patriarchal system that we live in.
It's really one of the reasons I chose sociology instead of psychology. I chose sociology because instead of it focusing on the individual and it's your problem, it's more, patriarchal social orders are set up in such a way that you're supposed to feel crappy and you're supposed to have been sexually abused and you're supposed to be paid less and you're supposed to be less valued and you're supposed to have men making decisions about whether you should have reproductive rights and all of that.
And tell you what, now they're going to tell you what to wear.
Yeah,
Right.
There you go.
Like me, like some days I like to dress like a dude. What you would consider as a more male oriented clothing. You can now be arrested in Tennessee or wherever if they consider you cross-dressing. What are we going? We need
or your arms are bare when you walk through the public space. Okay.
Or your arms are bare as women. So, but all that to say, do y'all understand what's being brought in here with this awakening moment here is yes, we still need to clean that up. We still need to address the woundedness. However, we also need to we need to turn our heads and look to where it's needs to be addressed, where it started.
You okay?
Yeah.
That was a lot. Yeah. I think maybe we go back to the beginning of this program, which is the question about what's awakening. I mean, awakening is waking up to the reality that what you already said, which was that the cause of our woundedness is not necessarily what we think it is. It's like, oh, I'm heartbroken because so-and-so left me. It's like, okay, because
where is the heartbreak really from?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, and at this point in my life with the journey I've been on, one of the scripts that runs in my head is, oh, I'm growing old alone, right?
Okay.
Like that's like horrible. Now, I'm also struggling with disabilities, but the and it's always helpful when people are around because they can do certain things that I can't do. So that helps me. But why are we so afraid to be alone? I'm not afraid to be alone. I actually enjoy it, but we get these scripts, we get these messages,
Yes.
and most women are going to be, newspaper articles that say stuff about women, older women are going to be by themselves because men are going to die younger than them. It's like, so what? So what? Yes, you're going to miss them. You'll see them again, but yes, you're going to miss them. But I don't, yeah, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes. Yes. It's a scripting that we grab onto and it becomes in the system. So when something is opposite of that scripting that the system has set up for us, we will go into that despair piece that, what if, and then you start spinning on that. Yeah.
So I think one part of the awakening process is what we've already said, which is recognizing what's been programmed in, what's not real. It's not real.
Yeah.
It's not life by itself. It's life scripted, life programmed, life dictated. But the other part of that awakening is the process of coming through it.
Mm-hmm.
What you said in the piece that you wrote about your son's death was dropping through that moment of despair, how deeply that went, and then finding your way up out of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, what I was talking about was the moments of despair I had where, being able to listen to my heart and say, okay, all right, I've got this. I've got this.
Mm-hmm.
This is here. It's not going away. I've got this. All right, so what have I got? My heart hurts. Some days are really difficult. And okay, so what are your options? Well, one option is to go ahead and feel my feelings. One option might be, I think today I'm just going to sleep. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
Some days I'm just going to cry. Some days I'm going to say to somebody, could you just put your arms around me for a minute? And not be afraid to say those things, or to just cry in front of people. So what? It's just, there are ways to get through the despair that we fight like crazy. Because part of the script is don't cry, don't be depressed, don't do this. I mean, we've got drugs galore about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take a Xanax. It's like, whatever happened to just feeling your feelings? Oh, they're overwhelming. So go into them, and then they don't last forever. I had a therapist who used to call that walking through the firestorm. On the other side of the firestorm is relief. And yeah. So what are you thinking there, Mata?
So many things. I was thinking so many things through the whole season, but I didn't take any notes. So, but the one thing that keeps coming in here with that is love.
Yeah.
Love is the wisdom.
Yeah, that's
behind all of the awakening. We are
loving yourself.
Loving yourself on that level. The energy that we were made from is love. We are love.
Mhm.
And stepping into that truth, that realization alone will be part of that awakening. And also, as we look at the system that is not working, it's working for what they set it up to do. You in the awareness, just today, you all, the awareness that, they have us focusing totally just on the woundedness, and that we're wounded, and that we have this and that we have that we'd never even look behind to go, hey, you're the one doing this system. But once we turn around, that is love. That's loving ourselves, right? That's loving others. That is just out of that essence of love. There's more to that, to the love part, but that's the surface of it.
Well, I think, like when we watch, I my heart breaks a lot. Like, I mean, I read the newspapers every morning and try to make sure that I'm aware of what's going on so that I can help students deal with it. But my heart breaks, reading the stories about making laws that make people feel bad about themselves. When you're from a group that's historically underrepresented or historically oppressed, being able to get to a place, and we've most recently done that with civil rights legislation, we've done that with gay rights legislation, where we've given people a sense not of power, and that's where the junk comes in, but a sense of being just one of the gang. You're just like everybody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole thing about gay marriage is like, yeah, I just want to love this person in whatever way I want, without somebody else telling me how horrible I am. What a transition that is. And then I'm teaching race right now, and the whole idea of internalized oppression, internalized racism, where you come to believe about yourself what the society is telling you is so awful about you, that it becomes part of the fabric of your existence. And so you have to get past that. But my heart breaks when I see this stuff, because I can feel their pain. I can feel it's such an injustice to inflict harm on other people just because they don't fit the box you subscribe to. That's the piece. And so when we talk about despair, we're not just talking about our personal lives. We're talking about how we deal with the destruction that goes with either the individual experience or the experience of, that's bigger than that.
Right. It's a combination. It definitely is all interlinked.
Mm-hmm.
But our responsibility in our own awakening and our own awareness, number one is being aware, but also recognizing where we're oppressing ourselves. Where are you oppressing yourself? Where are you grabbing onto the narrative and saying this is truth, and you're oppressing yourself in that? So that's where we have a little bit of it's where we have power over what's happening, and can make changes there, right? Take inventory. Where are we oppressing ourselves? So when you're faced with some of those moments of the opportunity of my heart, and I'm crying, Chrys, you offered yourself space to feel. You offered yourself space to understand that this will pass through, and I want to feel this, and I want it to move through, and then it will move. There's a brighter area right on the other side of this. That is love. That is not being the oppressor anymore to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's just a tiny example, but we all have our own examples, right? And so where is it that we are also the perpetrator to ourselves, that we have grasped onto this larger oppressor and narratives and are doing it to ourselves every time. And these are just little examples, but like you said, every time, you don't be crying about that. That's not a big deal. Someone says something and it hurts. Being out here on YouTube, you often will get very hurtful messages or comments. Now, if I take that comment in, yeah, it hurts. It's like, what? It's like a little slap in the face. You know what I mean? But that's all. And then you're like, oh, that feels yucky. I don't like that. But then after that, what do you do with it? Do you take it in and make it your truth? Oh, they said blah, blah, blah about me. I guess I am. Am I that? And then 5 days later, you're still spinning on it. Guess who the oppressor is now? You are to yourself. I am to myself, right?
Some of it's about patience too, Some of it's that we're so impatient with pain. We don't want to be. We don't want to be in pain.
Yeah, don't want to be in pain.
Have to stop immediately. Make it stop. Make it stop. Make it stop. So we develop an entire pharmaceutical industry that spends most of its time developing products that'll get us out of pain quickly. Right? Now, granted, some physical pain is
of course, yeah. I mean, some of this, it's a no-brainer, but understanding the concept of what you're saying, yeah, the patience of moving through something, because if you're going through a life situation, now we came here to experience life, create, love, feel, right? Something happens and we have this opportunity in life to go through something. It might not always feel good, but it is an experience that we came here to experience, right? So we on this side were like, oh, I don't want to go through the experience. I just want to be on the other side of this. You know what I mean? I just want to be on the mountaintop. I don't want to climb it. I just want to be up there. But like we say in so many different ways, climbing that mountain is the experience. And the moments of that, it's part of that growth and part of that awareness and part of that awakening that you're going through. And so, but it's a natural, I'm broke. I need that $1 million right now. Well, part of getting and building that is so beautiful for your mind, body, and spirit, to go through the experience of building something and creating something, and then the rewards come and like all that. So it's so don't poo-poo the experience of when you're being offered an opportunity to go through some pain, some grief. We don't like it, but I do feel the experience of it is something that we wanted. And to understand and awaken further and expand further because of the experience of grief or pain, despair, anger, any of those things. So your wheels are spinning, Chrys.
Yeah. I was thinking we should each talk about a personal example, because I'm imagining that people listening to this are saying, might be sensing that these are a lot of platitudes without I'm mostly thinking about my own physical challenges.
Yes.
That this is a 3-year experience of where in 2020 my life ended as I knew it. And so that's one level, right? That's like everything you thought you were doing has come to an end. I know, she's so sweet. And BB's over here, like,
Oh,
aren't you done yet? Yeah. Anyway, that then what happens? I mean, that's the one emotional piece that's big. And then you move into the experience. I was reading the isolation journals this weekend about what this woman had gone through with her cancer experience. It's painful. It's physically painful. It's it pushes you into physical spaces you aren't prepared for, you don't remember, you're trained for, none of it. So the despair that comes with that, for the most part, is not the despair that comes with having had a script. Although your life ending was a script, right? That's one of them. But the other part of it is when you're saying to yourself, why am I going through this? Why is this happening to me? She wants your hair.
She's like, it's cold in here. What are you doing?
Yeah, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's that why is this happening to me? It's hard.
It's like, oh my gosh, I can't even take one more day of this. This is too much. I can't. This is too much. You said you wouldn't give me give me more than I could handle. This is more than I can handle.
Right. That's right.
Uncle.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the despair that comes with that kind of experience is so big, but you can't articulate it. You can't like say to people, don't you understand? It's like, no, they don't understand. They haven't gone through it.
I'm going to ask you to do the hardest thing within that moment, Chrys. In that moment of like, I can't do this any longer. It is too much. There's too much pain. I'm going through. I can't do it any longer. Yet you look down the road and you still somewhere are pulling out some hope for the future. It might be so silent. It might be so tiny, but it's still there. There's still seed. And asking your spirit team in this moment, help me take off some of this armor. I'm protecting myself from you. I'm burying myself in this hole. I'm putting the turtle shell over me. I'm putting the armor on. And in what thought you were trying to protect yourself from all the emotions of this journey is now imprisoning you in the despair instead of the hope for the next day or the moment or just this moment or just the next moment. So that would be the challenge, is in those moments go, wait, okay, I now have become my own oppressor within the oppression.
I'm thinking about it.
I know it's hard. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
It is like one of the, I think, and I know from my own experience that is the hardest realization, and to personally offer some of my armor. Okay.
So let's go back to the beginning of this conversation, which is, what does it mean to awaken? And in that kind of experience where it's relentless, it's a one thing after another that you have to cope with. What you find yourself doing is saying, how can I get past this? How can I get through this? What do I have to do? And you're constantly thinking about what are the various ways I can get there. And you're making a decision. If I stay where I am, it's not going to get better. I'm in charge.
Mhm.
I'm the one who has to choose whether I find a different path.
Mhm.
I'm the one who has to advocate for me. I'm the one who has to get through this. I have to find the words. I have to find the strength. I have to find the exercise. I have to find.
And part of the way you did that was being in service of others around you.
And I was just going to say that what became very clear to me very quickly was pay attention to the people who are helping you.
And you
Pay
began
attention
to
to
love, you began to love on them. You began to recognize their beautiful selves that
Yeah.
they brought, that they were meaningful, that they were significant.
One, how could I be in service to them while I'm going through this? That's
Yeah, and it didn't take away from your journey.
No.
However, it did
No.
offer some moments out of that despair where you took off that armor and you were able to give love and receive love from others.
It's interesting because Suleika Jawad, who we've talked about many times, who wrote Between Two Kingdoms, she's in her second round of leukemia, right? And she created this thing called the Isolation Journal, which is a blog, right? And so people who are going through similar things as what she's gone through are writing in. But what she's doing with her writing in this blog, as well as what other people are doing, is they're giving service to each other. They're doing exactly that.
They're doing that.
This is what I went through, and this is what so-and-so just wrote to me, and she just said blah, blah, blah. And some of the writings are beautiful. Here's another one. She did a painting. Look at the painting she did. And this one just called me and she just said, and we're going to go meet up in this restaurant. And, there's the way in which I think part of what's really powerful about awakening is realizing that you're not here alone.
I just
You really?
I totally just wrote that down. Don't go it alone.
No.
And that's the whole thing. Awakening is remembering, oh, I'm part of a collective.
Yes.
I'm part of a collective but we are told that we are.
And it's not just on this side. It's not just on this dimension. And that's the other part of this, is that when you start to move into that space, you start to move into other dimensions yourself. You realize that you're also really connected to those other dimensions. And you realize that there's a whole way in which you can then maneuver your way through this hard patch, this hard experience, and that it has some sort of purpose in it.
Exactly. And you are, again, remember, you're a co-creator of this narrative life, your narrative, your life, what you're doing. And oftentimes, like, I think I started part of what I was saying is like, God, why are you doing this to me? I can't handle. Why am I giving over the power when it is within me? You know what I mean? So, that's a whole nother discussion. However,
hold on to that one.
Yeah.
Did you write it down?
No, but I'm sure you have it recorded. We have it recorded somewhere. Anyways, this is a lot to chomp on, everyone. So I'm really looking forward to some discussion on this in the comments. Please let us know in the comments if it's okay to share your comments in the shows. I really wanted to pull up the screen of comments and just really go through some of the discussion and kind of answer some questions that came through on the comments. So let me know in the comments when you comment yes, this can be shared or something like that. So I know, but I'd like to kind of bring you all more into this. So, pull it up on screen here. So lots to chomp on. I don't even know where to go from there. A lot to think about, lots to chomp on.
Well, and we don't have all the answers. I think that's.
I mean, we are awakening. We are getting there. We are asking the questions, right? And so let's continue to ask these questions. Let's continue to dive in. And so I appreciate you, Chrys, so much. I'm giving you a big hug.
I'm giving you one back. I love you a lot.
Okay, so we started the recording again because some more things came through when we turned the recording off. So the goodbye earlier wasn't the real goodbye. We'll do that again. But what was coming is the sensitivity of and the understanding that there are some of us that are in the depth of this right now. We're in the depth of despair. We're in the depth of something. And, all these words coming out of our mouth could sound like wah, 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 right? And what we want to tell you is that what we can offer you is that we are here. We are offering love. We are empathizing with you. But understanding that when I go through my stories, when I go through my episodes of despair, or my whatever challenges come in for me, that's in my reality. And you have your reality within what you're going through, right? But your story, your reality within your story, no one else can even say, I understand what you're going through. No one does. But what we can do with your reality and your story and your journey through this is we can come alongside you and we can say, we love you. And I'm here with you in this trench, and I'm going to help you find your way out of this. We're going to do this together. That's what we can do for one another. But it's important to know this is within your own. We recognize this is yours. And but we also recognize that as humans, we are here to support one another and help each other up in service of each other in these times.
I think what I said when we stopped was there are a lot of people listening who are going to have gone through really big stuff and are still going through big stuff. And they're looking for the conversation that will make them feel like somebody understands.
Yeah.
I think that's but they also want somebody to say, yeah, there are some things you can do to help yourself. And I know that we can go there. We don't have the answers for you. But
right, exactly
right.
But we're here alongside you.
But that's what it means to hold the space. And I think what we were also saying was one of the common practices when people are going through hard times is that people who mean well are saying things like, well, try this, or you must feel this, and instead of to hold the space is to really say,
listen,
tell me about it.
Mm-hmm. Listen.
If you can find the words, and that you can't always find the words because it's so big.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm here. I'm right here. I'm just going to be here. I'm just going to hold the space for you. I'm going to send you Reiki if you're hurting and I can't be next to you, that kind of stuff. But it's really yeah. That's what I think I was thinking a lot about the stuff I was reading this weekend, was that these were people who are really saying, you can't fix it. You can't fix it for me. I know you want to. I know you want it to go away. but that's really about you.
Mm-hmm.
That's not about me. And this is, I think that's why this blog called the Isolation Journal is really an expression. It's really when you're in that depths,
Mm-hmm.
it's very isolating because you don't have language for it. You don't have a meaning system available to you yet. You know, you're like, I'm just here. I'm just watching everybody. I'm listening to everybody, and everybody's trying to make me feel better, but no one really can. And
Mm-hmm.
that's my work. I have to make me feel
Right.
better.
Right.
It
Well
becomes
said.
very apparent
Mm-hmm.
fairly quickly when it's that big. You're realizing, oh, I'm in this by myself. No one feels what I'm feeling. No one knows what I'm feeling. I don't have a script to follow. I don't know what's next. I don't know how to get through this. And it's right here all the time. And then everything you've ever learned about how to get through hard stuff is available to you. You're going, well, I could try this or I could try that. And then you start like looking for things about other people going, you know, like you're trying to find your way through. It's like trying to find your way through the fog, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It's not sunshine. It's very foggy. And you're like, this is all very foggy. The light's kind of weird, you know. This whole thing is just weird. And for the first time in your life, really, it's the first time. I mean, maybe it's not the first time, but you know what it means to be that isolated,
Mm-hmm.
that alone, and have to call on anything that's available to you to try and figure it out. You know, people turn to alcohol, they turn to drugs, they turn to pharmaceuticals, they turn to any number of things to try and get through.
Mm-hmm.
But they quickly realize that that doesn't get you through. It just delays the outcome, right? So how do you do it? And I think that's what our conversations are about. It's
Mm-hmm.
about it's about the awakening. It's about what we've learned
Mm-hmm.
going through these extreme things, that there's no easy answer,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and there's no quick fix. And when you finally find the connection to spirit, that's when it starts to change,
Mm-hmm.
because things start to take on a lot of love energy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you start to realize that you're spirit and you can love, and you can love other people,
Right.
and you can
And
love
in
life.
doing so, when you are in that service of love towards others, it is love. It is bringing that love to yourself where you need it the most.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is blessings and goodbye till next time for reals. But we love you, and we'll see you all next time.